My best friend of 7 years cheats on our mutual friend, claims she regrets it. It just happened. Now I'm left feeling betrayed and disoriented, supporting him while processing my anger. How can I reconcile my values with this heartbreaking betrayal? We were friends for 7 years, navigating through several different friend groups that ultimately fell apart, yet we remained close. They had known each other even longer, 11 years. They became a couple about 2 years ago. I have always been much closer to her. She was undeniably the best friend I have ever had. We experienced everything together. I considered both of them among the closest people in my life and honestly the only true friends I had. Over the past 6 months, she had been expressing her dissatisfaction about her relationship with him. I completely understood her frustration, as I was facing similar issues in my own relationship. Approximately 2 weeks ago, we went for a walk, and she vented a bit more than usual, but I am confident I would have noticed any signs of a potential breakup. In the days that followed, I repeated our conversations from that day and many others in the past, and I cannot find anything that indicated she was planning to leave him or that she had feelings for someone else. It was merely another discussion about the same issues in their relationship that I was already aware of. A week prior, she texted me that they had a lengthy conversation about their future together and that she had decided to seek therapy. I requested more details, but she said she would share them when we met. Then a few days later, she texted me in the middle of the night stating that they had broken up and that she had made a mistake. I started sending her numerous messages, but she barely replied. When I inquired about calling her, she said she would explain everything when we met. I also asked if she had a place to stay, but she assured me that everything was fine. At that moment, I was unaware of what had transpired, so I tried to be as supportive as possible. I was genuinely worried. The following morning, my male friend told me he needed to talk. When I called him, he revealed that she had cheated on him. While he was away for a 2-week work trip, she had been seeing someone else, a man from her job whom she had known for only 3 months. He discovered the truth 3 days after he left, but she did not confess until several more days had gone by. I was aware of this coworker's existence. She had mentioned him a few times, but not any more than any of her other colleagues. I even looked through our old messages and she had hardly brought him up. There was no way I could have suspected anything. However, it turned out that while my male friend was still in town, she was going out with this coworker after her shifts, turning off her phone so that he could not see her location, call, or text her. According to her, she began developing feelings for him at the beginning of February. At one point, she confessed to my male friend that this coworker had asked her out, but she claimed she had declined. My male friend was upset, but she reassured him that she only regarded the man as a friend and that she did not want him to harbor resentment toward the coworker since she enjoyed working with him. In hindsight, there were numerous red flags, but my male friend stated that he wanted to trust her until the very end. Before he informed me, I was completely unaware of any of this. The next day, she texted me, but I told her I was not ready to talk. I expressed that when I would listen to what she had to say. We were scheduled to meet today, but I simply could not go through with it. I feel awful. If she had just broken up with him, I would have understood. I would have been there for her. I would have listened. And she was aware of that. We had discussed numerous times how cheating is revolting and inexcusable. She was always the first to denounce it. I have been attempting to support my male friend to the best of my ability. I feel terrible for him. I have called him every day this past week, and last night he even stayed over at my boyfriend's place and mine. We drove him home today to the residence where she still lives. I thought I knew her. I was certain we shared the same values. I wish she had reached out to me, explained herself, said anything, really. This behavior seems so out of character for her. She was the last person I would have expected to cheat. Her justification was that she waited too long to end her relationship with him and that it just happened. She claims she regrets handling it this way. I do not know what to do. I am filled with anger, confusion, and disappointment. I never wanted to lose her, but if I ever decide to forgive her, I feel as though I would be betraying my own values. I also do not know if it is even conceivable to maintain friendships with both of them. For now, I cannot bring myself to talk to her or text her, but I have no idea what to do in the near future. Regardless of the choice I make, it feels like the wrong one. In summary, my best friend of 7 years cheated on her boyfriend, who is also our mutual friend, with a coworker. She had always condemned infidelity, so I feel shocked and betrayed. I have been supporting him, but I am uncertain if I can ever forgive her. No matter what I do, it feels like the wrong choice. Story 2. After 20 years of marriage, my wife checked into rehab for her addiction and promptly cheated on me with a 26-year-old. I only want to be with you, she claims, while secretly texting him. Our kids are begging us to stay together. Can I trust her again? Preface: I rewrote this to include all the details. This is a true story. Please read all of it and provide me with some sound advice. My wife, 43 years old, and I, 41 years old, have been together for over 20 years. We have two children who are under the age of 10. About 3 years ago, we began to argue about her excessive drinking. Then I confronted her about using cocaine while drinking. She promised to stop using cocaine but said she enjoyed having 1 or 2 drinks before bed and asked me to respect that. I smoke marijuana at night after work to relax, so I agreed. We continued to argue periodically about her drinking, which eventually escalated into a significant fight when I asked her to stop spending time with her friend who uses drugs. My wife retaliated by accusing me of having an affair with my female best friend. Although I never had a physical affair with my best friend, I concede that I became too close to her when my wife's drinking and drug use intensified. You could say I had an emotional affair. However, I quickly understood what I was feeling and did not allow it to progress further. After the altercation, I went to stay with my mother for a few days, which made my wife upset. She would not let me return home for approximately 2 months. Eventually, we began attending marriage counseling, and it felt as if things were improving. She was still drinking, but it appeared to be limited to the evenings, and our communication had significantly improved. A few months into counseling, she went on a trip to visit a friend. Upon her return, she was acting suspiciously. Eventually, I caught her texting with some men she met on the trip. She insisted that nothing physical occurred and claimed that she simply enjoyed the attention and was flirting. I did not believe her and asked her to leave. She subsequently went on a 3-day binge of cocaine and alcohol before admitting that she had a problem. The next day, she checked into rehab. About a month into rehab, I discovered that she was being advised to move to a sober living home instead of coming home. I was blindsided by this news, but I agreed. She ended up at a place called 405 Recovery in Orange County, which reportedly has a sober sorority house and sober fraternity house where everyone engages in casual relationships. I suspected she was being unfaithful. She began to distance herself from me and the children for 2 months, leading to further arguments. She blamed me for jeopardizing her recovery by urging her to spend more time with us. Eventually, I learned that my wife was having an affair with a 26-year-old man. I discovered her with him just days after her sober living program concluded. Upon being caught, she relapsed and returned to rehab. For the next few weeks, we had no communication and I filed for divorce. She did not contest it. My wife is now residing in another sober living home and expresses a desire to start over and work things out. I share that desire, but I cannot trust her. I told her that I want to learn to trust her again, but a week ago I found out she had still been in contact with the 26-year-old because she is concerned about his sobriety. I figured this out by checking her phone records. She admitted it but insisted that she only wants to be with me. She claimed she was taking his calls to ensure he would not harm himself. He eventually began stalking her, and she now asserts that they have cut off contact as of a week ago. I am unsure what to do. I love her and want to keep our family intact, but I do not trust her. Over the past 2 weeks, she has been making more effort to communicate with the family. She FaceTimes the children every night and sends me text messages stating that she loves me and is working on herself. I have seen her on Sundays when I drop off and pick up the kids during a 2-hour visitation window. Our conversations have been civil, but they are beginning to shift towards the idea of resolving our issues. I kissed her the last time I saw her, and it was a bittersweet moment. On one hand, I feel like I have been the one advocating for reconciliation. If I had not made an effort, she seemed almost indifferent. Now that I am showing interest, she appears to be trying to express love. On the other hand, I still love her and have my own hidden issues that my wife is unaware of. I do not expect her to beg for my forgiveness, but I had hoped she would fight for our marriage as much as I would. However, she is an addict. My oldest child had a breakdown recently and reminded me that I taught him we never give up on family, even if they give up on us. My youngest physically pushes us together during drop-offs and pickups. Both children have been attending therapy for a couple of months and have expressed that they do not want us to divorce because they do not want to spend time away from me. I do not know what to do. I am in a poor mental state and therapy has not been helpful. I feel utterly lost. Story 3. My wife asked for space, then I found car sex videos of her with another man on my couch while I was at work. I'm sorry you found out this way, she said, pretending our separation was real. Now I'm filing for divorce, yet I can't shake the hope she'll come back. What am I doing? A male 28 years old discovered last week that my wife, female 26 years old, was unfaithful to me. Approximately 1.5 months ago, she approached me to request some space and to separate. The relationship was not in great shape, so I thought it would be beneficial. I would sleep on the couch while she occupied the bed. We would put our 1-year-old son to bed for the night, and she would go out with her female friend to socialize or work out nearly every night. Last week, I unexpectedly browsed through her phone while she was showering and found that she was texting another man. Upon investigating, I discovered videos of sexual acts occurring in our car and a video of her performing oral sex on him on our couch while I was at work. When I confronted her, she became defensive, citing all the hurtful things I had done in the past. I struggled with alcohol issues for years which have since been managed, but they caused her significant pain and contributed to our marital problems. I believe alcohol ruined much that was good in my life, including the breakdown of this marriage. She also claimed that since we are separated, it is acceptable for her to date. However, we are not officially separated. We have just been sleeping apart while she went on dates, which I now know. She stated that she feels no remorse for her actions, only that she was sorry I had to discover it in that manner. She said she would continue her communication with this man, and she has. I recognize that she holds many grudges against me and utilizes them to blame the collapse of our marriage, as well as to justify her wrongful actions. She does not perceive her actions as wrong. She claimed to have been faithful until this point, and friends and family I have consulted indicated that this behavior does not sound like her, which I agree with. She requested that I not inform her or my immediate family, perhaps to preserve her image. But why, if we are indeed getting divorced, which seems 99% likely, why not inform others? Is this affair merely an attempt to retaliate against me or make some sort of statement? I have so many questions I cannot answer. When I first discovered the truth last week, I was an emotional wreck, crying and pleading for her to stay and for us to reconcile. In retrospect, I see that I was being overly emotional while she was the one who betrayed me. Through self-reflection, I acknowledge that I made many mistakes. I became too comfortable and complacent in the relationship. My alcohol dependency created issues between us, and I likely came to feel more like a roommate to her than a husband. I agree that these issues contributed to the deterioration of our relationship over time, and it seems she is attempting to fill the voids of what she desired from me with this other person. I also believe this individual took advantage of her during a failing relationship, saying and doing things to push her away, either for their own benefit or simply for sexual gratification. Regardless, she seems to be in this infatuation phase now and does not pay much attention to me. I know I have changed and grown as a person because of this experience. Through self-assessment and realization of my past mistakes, I understand better what I should and should not have done, and I have learned valuable lessons that will aid me in future relationships. I genuinely want to know how I can help her see me as a mature and different man as a result of this situation. I recognize that when I was pushy, emotional, and pleading after my initial discovery, it only pushed her away further. I want her to realize that I have changed and to acknowledge the transformation she had been requesting from me for so long. I can admit my faults, and I feel that I have become a different person. I am pursuing these changes for myself and my son, not for her, whereas in the first few days I was solely focused on winning her back. I wish for her to come to her senses and take a moment to see me as a changed individual. I still love her, as she is the mother of my child, and I understand that rebuilding trust will be challenging. However, I am willing to forgive her if she can let go of her grudges and forgive me for my past mistakes. I am preparing the paperwork for divorce, and I realize we are 99% likely to proceed with that. But for the 1% hope that she might come back and we can work on our issues, what can I say or do now to make her notice me and perceive the changes? This other man has captured all her attention, and I am making an effort here. I am waiting for the moment she realizes that this is wrong, and I hope she eventually stops justifying her infidelity by saying it is my fault our relationship has reached this point or using the separation as an excuse to date other people. While I am still proceeding with the divorce, a part of me holds on to the hope that she will return to me, and I know we will both need to put in considerable effort to navigate the aftermath of this turmoil. Any advice would be appreciated. Thank you for your time. Story 4. I discovered my boyfriend Cody was cheating when his odor turned nauseating, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. "I'm sick, I'm going to see my mom," he'd say while sneaking around with other women. My instincts kicked in and I made a daring escape at 2 a.m., leaving everything behind. Now I'm left feeling dumb and betrayed. What happens next? Hi, my name is Sharon, a 20-year-old transgender woman. I discovered that my boyfriend Cody was unfaithful due to his body odor. Last month, I quit my job and chose to alternate between my boyfriend's house and my home to enjoy my time off work. Everything was wonderful: dining out, shopping, stargazing, thrifting, drinking, and consuming mushrooms. I felt blissfully unaware of any issues in my relationship. 3 weeks ago, however, I began to notice a change in the odor of my boyfriend, which I had once found endearing but now made me feel nauseous. Despite showering and wearing cologne, I could still detect an unpleasant scent reminiscent of mothballs, sweat, alcohol, and something else. His odor caused me headaches, and I started to suspect that something was amiss. I began having nightmares of him cheating on me, with the sensation that someone or something was trying to gain access to his apartment constantly. We would lock the doors, yet upon returning, we would find them or the windows left open. I started to entertain the idea that he might be talking to another girl. I asked him several times throughout our relationship if I could look at his phone, but he always refused. Initially, this did not bother me, but as various signs accumulated, my intuition urged me to check his phone. While waiting for him to fall asleep, I realized he was pretending. I used that time to measure his breathing, which was irregular, given that he typically snores when he sleeps. After waiting for 30 minutes and verifying that he was asleep, I took his phone, went to the restroom, and managed to figure out his passcode on the third try. I discovered that he was messaging multiple women. Over the holidays, we participated in a role play based on a kink of mine, where he would dress up. And during that time, he sent photos to those women later on. He constructed elaborate lies, telling me he was sick, visiting his mother, or working on days when he was actually at the Royal Hawaiian Motel with those same women. He would make inappropriate comments, leading me to feel utterly betrayed. I was heartbroken as we had been together for 6 months. He was my first serious boyfriend, and he had spent considerable time and money on me. He even met my entire family and frequently stayed at my house. I contemplated my next steps, whether to wait for him to take me home in the morning as we had discussed, or to leave and never return. He lives an hour away from me, and I do not drive nor do I have money for an Uber. Fortunately, my friend Elena texted me, saying she would pick me up and urged me to leave before he woke up. Cody owns a gun and is much stronger and taller than I am. As she headed over, I decided to quietly pack. I pretended to gather items for tomorrow's laundry, but I was secretly taking all my belongings through the restroom mirror. He was unaware of my plans to leave at that moment. I acted as if I was showering while sneaking things out and preparing notes for him to read. I had previously asked for his car keys, claiming I needed to look for my AirPods, knowing I had them with me so I could retrieve all my items from his car. After coming back inside, it was approximately 2:30 a.m. and he was semi-awake. I told him I was going to wash the dishes and clean up. I exited through the living room and kitchen, got into my friend's car with all my possessions and headed home. At 2:54 a.m., he sent me a photo of himself drinking from a dragon gauntlet I made for him. At 3:19 a.m., he texted asking where I was, then proceeded to call me. I did not answer. At 3:30 a.m., he sent a message saying he saw the notes. At 3:33 a.m., he texted to see if I made it home safely. I did not reply and will not be going back. I blocked him on Instagram, but not on his phone number, so he understands I see his messages and have chosen to exercise control and respect by not responding. I do not intend to inform my family or friends or post this information to anyone close to me. Instead, I plan to act as though we simply grew distant. I feel unattractive, foolish, and naive for falling for him and allowing myself to be vulnerable. I know this will not reach anyone I know, but I need to confide in someone because writing in my journal is not enough. Story 5. At 21, I'm juggling school, work, and motherhood, all while grappling with a toxic past. Like father, like son feels all too real. My ex cheated repeatedly, even with his best friend. Now they're both new parents. How did I end up here reflecting the pain? Hello, I am here to share my thoughts. I simply want to lessen the burden I feel. I am a 21-year-old female, currently attending school, working, and also a mother. I am a gamer, and I stayed in a boot camp long ago before I met my child's father. To clarify, a boot camp is a place for gamers where you live together in one house. Initially, I was not interested in dating another gamer like myself until I met him. He was teased by his teammates because they claimed he had a crush on me. They found ways to bring us closer together, offering him 500 pesos as long as he took me out. I agreed since there was a 7-Eleven conveniently located nearby. In short, we became close from that point onward. He courted me and I started developing feelings for him. Our relationship deepened to the point of intimacy, and he was my first in that regard. I was happy as I loved him, but there was another side to him. I accepted it because I loved him. He had previous sexual encounters with other women and kept all of their nudes and videos for himself. I also had a troubled past, but I had changed, so I thought he had too. However, that was not the case. We often experienced an on-and-off relationship due to his infidelity. I always forgave him despite the different forms of cheating he committed. I loved him deeply. I am a people pleaser, but it can be exhausting to be that way. He would break up with me, seek someone else, and then return. That became the routine of our relationship. I even pleaded and stayed with him for 1 month, hoping to be a better girlfriend, thinking that might help him improve, but it didn't work. The worst part was when he had sexual relations with his best friend, who was very close to his family. I caught him, and how did I discover this? I found pictures and videos. I accepted it nonetheless. Foolish, right? Let me give you a brief overview of his background. His mother is blind and his father is incarcerated. His family is troubled. He was an illegitimate child because his father married another woman and started a new family. He harbors significant resentment toward his father. Once, his mother invited me to celebrate the birthday of his younger sibling, as they are 2 siblings. Something happened between us during this time when he was trying to reconcile with me. After several days of reflection, I chose not to return to him. My menstrual cycle is irregular, making it hard for me to keep track. One day I found out I was pregnant. People say you can feel it, but I did not. I had no feelings at that moment and could have prevented it if I had any. I considered having an abortion, but there were too many complications. My mind was torn. I told him I was pregnant, but he claimed the child was not his and said hurtful things, but the part that hurt the most was when he denied it and was already seeing someone new. He seemed happy dating and going out while I was suffering. No one cared for me as I was pregnant and attending school. I hid that fact. Eventually, I met someone who accepted me, and I thought about how he had someone new, so why shouldn't I accept that? He took care of me during my last month, which was 8 months along as I experienced preterm labor. I was okay back then, but the person I met was not responsible enough. While I had responsibilities, he was still in a loving stage. I kept stalking my ex, seeing how happy he was and wishing I had never met him. I wanted to blame the child, but I felt guilty too. His new girlfriend knew he had a child with someone else, yet they continued their relationship. I reached a point of depression, crying every night, blaming myself, and feeling lost about how to raise my child, especially since I was just in my third year of school. I continued my studies while taking care of my child and working as well. Here's the plot twist. His best friend with whom he had sexual relations is also close to his new girlfriend, and worst of all, during my pregnancy just 2 months after I gave birth, his new girlfriend also became pregnant. Recently, I saw that she had just given birth and his best friend was with her. Isn't that strange? The world is so cruel. Can I just die? With billions of people in the world, why does this happen to me? They are so similar to his father, indulging in pleasure, and in the end, I became like his mother. It's true that like father, like son. I thought he wouldn't be like his father because of his deep resentment, but they are incredibly alike. And you know what hurts the most? My child looks just like him. I don't know what else to say. I can't handle this anymore, so I just wanted to share here to express the chaos in my mind.